Long ago, I had an idea that was based off a result of a game of Super Smash Bros. Melee. Well, okay, so it was 8 years ago. The point being is, after a surprising end to an AI match in 2011, the idea was planted in my head to find out which fighter in Super Smash Bros. Had the best AI. The problem? I was relegated to just Super Smash Bros. Melee. While this isn't a bad thing per se, the way I set up this project was. See, this originated way back during Spring Break 2011, the same time as the end of the March Madness tournament. I thought it'd be a cool idea to combine that same idea to find the strongest AI with the NCAA March Madness setup, and so begun the project that is now known as Melee Madness, or at least it was. This year, the project, now known as Smash Madness, is going into its 8th season, and its first season under the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate title. And with its first season under the new game, I wanted to share the analysis with other people. I always found it interesting to analyze all the AI, but I won't go into too much detail once the season begins. But in order for you guys to get an understanding of what the project entails, I would need to give a brief history of Smash Madness. While I won't be spoiling any of the specific results, I do want to give enough information to get you up to speed. We'll be breaking this into 4 parts. And the first part we'll be covering is the origin. So, like I was saying, back in 2011, my friend quit playing Super Smash Bros. Brawl with the reasoning of it got boring and repetitive. It was actually the beginning of his movement to the PC Master Race, in short. Anyway, this left me without the ability to play Super Smash Bros. However, I did own a Nintendo GameCube, so I went out on a search for a copy of Super Smash Bros. Melee, which I found at a GameStop at a nearby mall. I then spent the majority of my time running manual tournaments rather than using the built-in tournament mode, since I was running best of 5 or 7 series. Yes, I did this instead of going out for spring break. I guess that makes me weird. Anyway, it wasn't until 2 occurrences of a level 1 Luigi just barely losing to a level 9 Roy until this idea was planted in my mind. Unfortunately, I really didn't have much time to undertake such a project, seeing as it was the end of spring break. So, I tabled it until the fall. Once I began my senior year, I decided to start building for the first season of what is now labeled as Smash Madness under the NCAA March Madness system. But at the time, it was called Melee Madness. So if you don't know how March Madness works, in short, colleges run through a regular season and have to qualify for the 64-team single-game tournament in March. The problem I ran into here was that I couldn't use 64 fighters since there were only 25 fighters in Melee. In fact, I couldn't really use 32 either, but I had to compromise somewhere. So I ended up using the actual characters in other games to substitute for the final 7 spots with the different color costumes that came with each fighter. This meant I had to use characters such as Shadow Link, Wario, Daisy, Sheik, Nana-led Ice Climbers, Shadow Mario, and Dark Samus. Come on, it was the best thing I could run with at the time. The season began in mid-January, ending in time for the anniversary of the idea, Spring Break 2012. And during Spring Break, I ran a 64-seeded single-game tournament. The left side of the bracket was seeded by division and conference seeds, while the right side of the bracket was seeded by league-wide overall records. And eventually, I found out who had the best AI in Melee. But that won't be revealed until a later video. Come the same time again in 2013, I thought to myself, I wonder, could the Season 1 champion actually win it all again? Could they prove they truly had the best AI in Melee? So in January 2013, I began setting up for a second season of Melee Madness. Only difference was, I subbed out Shadow Mario for myself. I wanted to put my best attempt to see if I could beat the best AIs. And because I began enjoying all this AI analysis, I once again returned to Melee in 2014 for Season 3. This was the year I introduced the pre-season qualifiers. Only difference between then and now are that the 25 fighters in Melee got a free pass, while the 6 remaining slots were used by the clone fighters from other games. But with the release of Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS coming in the fall, this was the final season in Super Smash Bros. Melee. So as a send-off, over the summer of 2014, I ran what is known as the Legends Bracket, where the best results from each fighter in each season's bracket fought it out to find out who was the best out of the 3 seasons. Unfortunately for the 4th season of Melee Madness, I did not own a Wii U yet, so I was stuck running Season 4 on Super Smash Bros. For 3DS. and since I was no longer running it on Melee, the official name was changed to what it is today, Smash Madness. A more fitting, universal name no matter what the game. With the return of the preseason qualifiers, I ran into a new problem. Instead of dealing with 26 fighters, there are now 51 fighters from the Smash 4 roster. At this point, I've gotten rid of the idea of using 64 fighters for the Smash Madness playoffs, and decided to stick with the base 32 fighters for each season, so I needed to expand the preseason qualifiers to accommodate the size of the new roster. 2016's season remained unchanged. The only changes were the addition of divisional champions getting an automatic free pass back into the next season in the division that they were in. That way, they could defend their divisional championship. This was key, as having the divisional champion having to qualify through the preseason qualifiers didn't really quite make sense to me. This season was also the first season to bring in the DLC fighters, as we saw the introduction of Cloud, Lucas, and Ryu, while Mewtwo and Roy returned after missing the 2015 season due to not being available in Smash 4 at the time. And at the same point in 2017, I felt like the project had run its course. I thought I wouldn't run another season. Well, until the summer that was, but due to the delay of Season 6, there were fewer games to play. But as far as Season 6 in 2017 and Season 7 in 2018 go, most of the system remained the same. I mean, there was the addition of Corrin and Bayonetta in Season 6, but the point I'm trying to get across is that both seasons of Smash Madness retain the same system as in previous seasons. Throughout the years, I kept doing Legends brackets to see how everyone stacked up with the past results, though I missed the one in 2017. But with 2018 being the final season of Smash Madness in Smash 4, I wanted to have a send-off Legends bracket spanning the last 7 years, the last 7 seasons, before completely resetting the league for when I made the transfer over to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Remember, the common phrase used to sell Ultimate was, "Everyone is here." It's an amalgamation of the previous 4 Super Smash Bros. Titles, and there was only one way to truly find out who the Ultimate AI was, in a title that has every fighter that has appeared in the franchise. It's the Ultimate Preseason Qualifiers. Because Nintendo was selling Ultimate as, well, the Ultimate Smash Bros. Game, where all previous fighters returned to the franchise, plus a few new fighters, I knew I had to do something big for such a big game. I decided to run a massive preseason qualifier. Screw the results from Season 7 last year. We need a clean reset since this is a new game. Everyone must re-qualify. But the difference with past seasons was that the preseason used a much smaller league-based qualifiers. See, since this was a new Ultimate game with every fighter from the series so far, I thought, what seems more poetic than to run smaller qualifiers through all previous 4 games using fighters that were introduced in those specific games. When all is said and done, each game gets 8 slots in Season 8, 2 divisions of 4. What? There's gonna be 40 fighters in? Well, yeah, I know that. Season 8 will be the only season to run this many fighters, as if I run another season in 2020, it'll default back to its regular 32. It's the ultimate preseason qualifier for the ultimate season of Smash Madness. This isn't a regular season. These are the fighters who have the best AI of their Super Smash Bros. Games that they debuted in. And it brings me to the current day. The point of this series is to showcase the analysis of which fighter's AI is the best throughout the series, and to qualify for Season 8, which will be held on Super Smash Bros. Ultimate this summer. But between now and then, I'll be going over each game's results to find out who had the best AI in each game, with more emphasis on Melee and Smash 4 to cover the results of Seasons 1 through 3 for Melee and Seasons 4 through 7 for Smash 4. But this summer, I'll be doing some sort of recap. I'm not sure if it'll be weekly or not, but it will lead up to the Ultimate Smash Madness playoff bracket in September. And after that, we truly will know who has the best AI in the entirety of the Super Smash Bros. Franchise itself. After that, if I return to run Season 9 in 2020, it'll be who has the best AI in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate itself, since the preseason qualifiers will take place only in Ultimate. Until then, I hope you enjoyed the history of Melee Madness and under its new current name of Smash Madness. I hope you are now caught up and are up to speed with how this project runs. Drop a like, truly, if you enjoyed this brief history, as it does help out the series and the channel, as this already has been quite the project already. If you want to stick around to figure out who is the best AI in each game, from the debuting fighters at least, and the franchise as a whole, think about subscribing to follow the series. With that, I want to thank you for watching, and we'll catch you back at the top later on, because that's how we do on.